Who is Dr. Robotnik's grandpa? Jim Carrey's new Sonic the Hedgehog character explained Sonic the Hedgehog 3 featured Dr. Robotnik's grandfather, who plays a key role in the larger Sonic franchise. Initially, it seemed like Shadow was the only major addition to Sonic the Hedgehog's cast of characters, but the third installment broadened its ensemble by digging deeper into the series' lore. Drawing from the video games Sonic Adventure 2 and Shadow the Hedgehog, Sonic the Hedgehog 3's story centers on Shadow, a government-created hedgehog. A vengeful anti-hero, Shadow's personality is a stark contrast to Sonic's upbeat nature. In previous live-action meets animation Sonic the Hedgehog movies, the titular speedster befriends Tom Wachowski, a small-town sheriff, as well as fellow anthropomorphic creatures Tails, a fox who can fly with the help of his twin Tails, and Knuckles, a hot-headed echidna warrior who boasts super strength. Aside from Sonic, one of the trilogy's biggest stars is Dr. Ivo Robotnik, Jim Carrey's mad scientist who serves as Sonic's arch-nemesis. In Sonic 3, Dr. Robotnik's story involves teaming up with the Blue Hedgehog, which leads to the introduction of Eggman's grandfather, meaning Jim Carrey plays two Dr. Robotniks. Jim Carrey plays two Dr. Robotniks in Sonic the Hedgehog 3 movie, and this wasn't a gimmick introduced for the cinematic Sonic universe. In fact, it's an example of the movies being incredibly faithful to the source material. Introduced in Sonic Adventure 2, one of Sega's most beloved games, Dr. Gerald Robotnik is Dr. Ivo Eggman Robotnik's grandfather. Once a world-renowned scientist, Gerald was the mastermind behind some of the world's most groundbreaking inventions. For the most part, Gerald Robotnik lent his great scientific mind to top-secret government projects, including the creation of Shadow the Hedgehog. The movies mirror the games here too, as in Sonic the Hedgehog 3 works with GUN, a global defense force. The family resemblance between Gerald and Ivo Robotnik is strong. Both are often portrayed as broad-shouldered men with egg-shaped torsos, bald heads, and over-the-top mustaches, though Gerald's stash is grayer and more voluminous than Ivo's. In Sonic the Hedgehog 3, Gerald Robotnik is initially an ally of his grandson, though this doesn't last long. Unlike Ivo, who dreams of global domination, the older Dr. Robotnik, played by Jim Carrey in Sonic 3, wants to destroy the world. Essentially, the Sonic Cinematic Universe version of Gerald Robotnik is his grandson's most evil qualities, a character so deranged that even his own grandson eventually turns against him. Dr. Gerald Robotnik is most well remembered in the world of Sonic the Hedgehog for creating Shadow, and Sonic the Hedgehog 3 copied this essential part of both characters' backstory. Decades before the events of Sonic Adventure 2, the president of the United Federation tasks Gerald with leading Project Shadow, a supposed medical program that endeavors to discover the secrets to immortality. Gerald agrees to assist with the project for a very personal reason. Gerald's granddaughter, Marita Robotnik, has a fatal illness, and he hopes to discover a cure. Using drastic measures, Gerald creates Shadow, but is taken into custody when the United Federation deems the creature dangerous. Before Gerald's arrest, his granddaughter manages to bond with Shadow. In fact, the two become best friends. Sadly, the facility where Shadow is being held is raided, and Maria is killed in the crossfire. Before she dies, Maria tries to protect Shadow and asks him to give the humans, and happiness, a chance. Shadow is scared by Maria's death, which prompts him to seek revenge, no matter the cost. Unsurprisingly, Dr. Gerald Robotnik is also deeply affected by Maria's death. In the Sonic the Hedgehog game's timeline, he slips into madness and plots his own revenge. Since Dr. Ivo Eggman Robotnik and his grandfather, Dr. Gerald Robotnik, share a striking familial resemblance, it makes sense that Jim Carrey is portraying both members of the Robotnik brood. The actor certainly has the chops to play a mad scientist, though Gerald's backstory is certainly a few shades darker than Eggman's, giving the new character a different dimension. Having Jim Carrey play two versions, Dr. Robotnik was the perfect choice for the Sonic movies, especially since it led to the hilarious moment that both evil scientists squared off in a CGI-filled fight using all manner of bizarre contraptions. Including Gerald Robotnik in Sonic the Hedgehog 3 turned out to be one of the smartest creative choices for the third live-action adaptation of the iconic Blue Hedgehog. It wasn't just a fun nod to longtime Sonic fans. It was an essential move to make Shadow the Hedgehog's big screen debut actually work. Gerald and his granddaughter Maria are the emotional backbone of Shadow's origin story in the games, and without them, the character would have lacked the depth that made him so beloved in the first place. Simply put, it would be almost impossible to have Shadow the Hedgehog without Dr. Gerald Robotnik. What's more, casting Jim Carrey as both Dr. Ivo Robotnik and his twisted grandfather Gerald gave Sonic the Hedgehog 3 one of its most unexpected advantages. Gerald, portrayed as a darker, colder, and more dangerously unhinged figure, offered a perfect contrast to Carrey's zany, over-the-top performance as Evo. This dual-role setup gave Carrey room to stretch his comedic muscles like never before and show off a more sinister edge, all without derailing the movie's lighter tone. Some of Sonic the Hedgehog 3's most memorable scenes come from Jim Carrey playing two Dr. Robotniks. Take the dance-off sequence, for example. What could have been a throwaway gag turned into a standout moment thanks to Carrey's physical comedy skills. It was silly, chaotic, and totally on brand for Ivo Robotnik, who has always walked a fine line between menace and absurdity. These lighter beats not only gave younger viewers a reason to laugh, but they also helped balance out the movie's darker plot threads involving Shadow and Gerald's experiments. Here's where Gerald's inclusion really pays off. It allowed the movie to give Ivo Robotnik a proper send-off. Across the trilogy, Ivo evolved from cartoonish villain to a more complex, fan-favorite anti-hero, largely thanks to Carrey's magnetic performance. But without someone worse in the picture, there'd be no room for Ivo's redemption. Gerald filled that greater evil role perfectly, so much so that by the time Ivo has to make his big choice near the end, his arc feels earned and emotionally satisfying. Instead of just going out in another puff of smoke or explosion, Ivo gets a cathartic moment that finally justifies all the chaos he's caused, and in a way that doesn't betray the goofy genius fans fell in love with in the first place. All told, Gerald Robotnik's inclusion wasn't just a cool Easter egg, it was a narrative game-changer. It added emotional weight to Shadow's origin, doubled down on the franchise's signature humor, and gave a beloved villain the kind of ending that sticks with viewers long after the Sonic the Hedgehog 3 credits roll.